I've taken 6 months off work of my career, unpaid, so I'm on the hook for, yeah, a lot of money. We several times asked to be consulted and accommodated, as this is our full legal right. The cities refused to do that. The government has refused to do that, using an organization called the AOO, the Algonquin of Ontario, as a kind of a, say that's the people we consult with, and they're failing to recognize the other Indigenous group in the area. What I like to bring, and this is not, I don't want to bring this as a contention, because I've made it clear for the very, very beginning from my quest of saving the South March Island, it's not for me. I'm not claiming land. All I'm saying, I'm claiming protection. The trees, the animals, the vegetation, the rocks, everything that's there is actually good for the health of the city. So it's a health question. Ontario, as you know, is suffering with health programs, and the cost of health is rising. And I've seen literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people using this forest every day. And I ask them, what are you doing here? What is the purpose? And it helps with their mental attitude, their moral. It helps people who have very, very serious disease that are going to the forest. And we have this well documented. So it's very important. One thing I like to add, Mark, that why I'm so determined to protect the South March Island, it's also my right. My ancestors are Algonquins people. They were here way before the arrival of Europeans, and this land is Algonquin land. The Parliament of Canada sits on Algonquin, unsurrendered, unsucceeded land of our ancestors. We're not asking for the land back. What's here, we're actually being very welcoming to the people here. The only request that was asked to the City of Ottawa, you must protect the South March Islands for the benefit, not for the Algonquins, it's for the people, your kids, the kids of these people that's going to come after. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, of your eyes, the forest doesn't care. But if there's no more urban forest, it's not good. It's very, very bad. Urban forests need to be protected at all costs. I personally currently live in Toronto, and I don't know if you heard this, but last month, Toronto has the first urban national park in Canada. And I live about 5 minutes from there, and I enjoy it very much. It's called the Rouge River National Park. How come Ottawa cannot create its first urban national park? You think Ottawa should be as the capital of Canada? This issue is getting heard from the four corners of Canada. My friend Robert Bateman is very, very upset about what's happening. As you know, Robert Bateman, like grandfather William Commanda, is also an officer of the Order of Canada. And he's upset about this. He's understanding. We had people cycling from all the way from Val-d'Or, Quebec, 500 miles. They cycled here to come and see William Commanda, and they could not believe what's happening in this forest. And these are Algonquin people.
We have to take a quick break. We'll come back and talk more about the future of the South March Highlands when we return on Talk Ottawa.
There's more than one way to join the discussion on Talk Ottawa. Just log on to rogerstv.com, follow show listings to Talk Ottawa, and send us an email with your thoughts or ideas. We want to hear from you on Talk Ottawa, the right choice for your voice.
Welcome back. We're talking about the future of the South March Highlands in Canada. The developer, K&L, and the City of Ottawa both say development is going to go ahead. It's been approved, but some people are still trying to stop it from happening. And Paul, maybe you can talk a little bit about what you see happening from here. Let's say you were able to convince some politicians to change their minds. What do you want to see happen? Because the developer is saying, look, we own that land. We've met all of the approvals. We've even reconfigured where we're going to develop based on the city's request. So what do you propose should happen from here if development is stopped?
Well, I think the first step, of course, is a moratorium on the development. The second thing is that the government needs to purchase the land back from the developer at fair market value. That's the cleanest way for everybody to emerge from this in a win-win scenario.
So you're not proposing anything that would from the perspective of Canada Northlands, that would leave them in the lurch.
No, why would we do that? I mean, the intent here is to find the goodwill, right, on all sides, right, to guide this to a responsible conclusion, right. We believe that development is irresponsible, and we would not want the solution to be irresponsible. So by purchasing the land at fair market value, and that provides the developer the ability to go elsewhere to do their thing. And there's many other areas where they can develop in Ottawa, I'm sure. And it then allows the land to be purchased for conservation purposes. We believe that the land is so significant that what we should do is view it as an opportunity for green infrastructure. And just as we had a federal infrastructure funding that pooled money from the federal government, provincial government, and municipal government in the past, the same approach could be taken to raise the funds necessary to purchase the totality of the South March Highlands. And the Greenbelt Coalition is actually suggesting the entire Cart Bridge for conservation purposes. And
now you live in that area, is that right?
No, I actually live in Stittsville.
Okay.
So none of us, in fact, live in Canada. And one of the big myths that's out there is that this is a NIMBY issue, because that's how developers and the city try to trivialize these matters. And the reality is this is one of the most significant natural ecosystems in Ontario, and it's, if not Canada, and it's an issue that we should all be concerned about.
Danny, maybe you can talk a little bit more about the sacred aspect of the land and what makes it different from other pieces of land for which I assume you would not oppose development.
In our way of life, we consider our nations ceremonial nations. Algonquins, Mohawks, Crees, Ojibwe, Navajo, Apache were earth people, and our cultures are based on our ceremonies. So without our ceremonies, we have no culture. In our Iroquois ceremonies, our most important ceremony is our Thanksgiving ceremony. And in that Thanksgiving ceremony, the first thing that we give thanks to is everything that's moving on the earth. And after we give thanks to everything that's moving on the earth, we give thanks to everything that's moving in the sky. And after we give thanks to everything that's moving in the sky, we give thanks to everything that's invisible. Our great creator, spirits, protectors. But when we do address our relatives on Mother Earth, the first one that we address is the vegetation, our plants. Our old elders always give thanks to the vegetation first. Trees, plants, bushes, shrubs, vines, roots, all the medicines that help us and heal us. Without the vegetation, we wouldn't survive. So this tract of land that we know as Mohawk people, and we're aware of a little bit of the history of this struggle, that the trees, the original trees that were just cut down in the beaver pond, that they were the last tract of land that was that survived an old fire. And so we're trying to support the Algonquin people in protecting the trees that are left. It's a very sacred issue to all Native peoples.
Now, Paul, isn't some people would look at this and say the issue's kind of been decided. The fight is over, and there really isn't any way for you to win left. What convinces you that there's still an opportunity to reverse this decision by City Council?
Well, I think, quite frankly, we live in a new Canada. We don't live in the Canada of the 1800s, where the approach was cut it down and burn it, or if you can't cut it down, see if you can dig it up. We live in a Canada that's supposed to recognize biodiversity as fundamental. In fact, Canada has signed international obligations on that part that we're actually falling behind on. We live in a world where increasingly modern society is coming to realize what Native society has always known, is that we do not exist apart from the environment. We exist within the environment. And some of the challenges we're seeing today with climate change and flooding and very severe and changeable weather is all coming from the fact that we've divorced our reality from the real reality. And so as we bring that back into alignment, right, I think a great many people are starting to realize that that's of a necessity. And what we need to do is to wake up our politicians to that fact. And
but from a practical point of view, what can you do at this point other than just try to convince them to change their minds? And they seem to have shown an unwillingness to do that. So what happens if they don't?
Well, I think from a practical point of view, it's a matter of getting public opinion. And the public has risen up before and said, why are we spending money on things that are less important than the things we should be spending money on, and getting our priorities realigned. And I think that's our challenge, and that's the practical way forward, is to get people who deep down realize that the environment is important to us, to realize this is something we all agree on. Mohawk, Algonquin, French, English, all nations can agree on this thing, and it's time to take action.
And at what point do you conclude that the politicians aren't listening, and they're not going to reverse their decision, and there's nothing you can do about it?
Well, there's an old Anishinaabe saying that goes along the lines of, when the last tree has been cut down and the last fish has been taken out of polluted water, and the last forest is gone, people will learn that you can't eat money. And I think it's at that point that we give up. Until that point, Mother Earth is still worth fighting for.
So even if the development proceeds and buildings are going up, you'll continue to fight at that point?
Already 2/3 of the South March Highlands has been lost from where it was in the 1970s, when it was actually protected by the region of Ottawa. And hear the music. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to stop there because we're out of time. But thank you all for joining us. I'm sure we'll be talking about this again. And thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Talk Ottawa. Good night.